Today we are going to learn quadratic equations. Now what is a quadratic equation? You have already learned about polynomials and its types. The first type of polynomial or the basic polynomial, if we go in a ascending order, it's a constant polynomial, which means only number. It has variable raised to 0. Then comes linear polynomial. Linear means the power of variable, the degree of variable is 1. The general form of a constant polynomial is a number c, and for linear polynomial, the general form of a linear polynomial is ax plus b. Now as we increase the power of variable, the next power x raised to 2, that forms a quadratic polynomial. The general form of quadratic polynomial is ax squared plus bx plus c. Now when you equate this quadratic polynomial to 0, it becomes a quadratic equation. Ax squared plus bx plus c, when it is equal to 0, it becomes quadratic equation. Now a, b and c are any real numbers here. A, b, c can be any real numbers, and a is not equal to 0. Now what happens if a is equal to 0? If we put a equals to 0, then 0 into any number is 0 and remains bx plus c. Now bx plus c means a linear form. So the quadratic form changes to linear form if the coefficient of x squared is 0. So the general form of a quadratic equation is a quadratic polynomial equals to 0. Now it is said that, or it is believed that, Babylonians were the first one to study and solve the quadratic equations, and the method they used was for solving the equation of this form: x squared minus px plus q, and it is believed that they were able to find two positive numbers whose product is the constant term q of the equation, and the sum of these numbers is the coefficient of middle term x. And we are going to study this method detail while solving the quadratic equation. So it is believed that Babylonians were the first one to solve quadratic equation using this method. Now later it was again believed that a Greek mathematician Euclid also studied about the quadratic equation, and he found a method, that is geometric method to solve the quadratic equations. Now what happens in geometric equation is you equate the general form to y and plot the graph. Now when you plot the graph on x and y axis, you will get a parabolic curve. When y is equals to ax squared plus bx plus c is plotted against or on the Cartesian plane, you get a graph like a parabola. Now the point where the parabola intersects the x-axis, y equals to 0, is called x-axis. Now these points are the zeros, are the solution of quadratic equation. and this method was first studied by Euclid. But the fact is, the history of quadratic equation, solving the quadratic equation, goes to an Indian mathematician called Brahmagupta. The Indian mathematician named Brahmagupta was the first one to solve quadratic equation and using a formula. And later on, another Indian mathematician, TURAKHIA, derived the formula used by Brahmagupta, and that formula we are going to study in this chapter.